Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. I saw an interesting article today, and I wasn't able to find it once I accidentally closed the tab. I've searched a bunch of times. I don't know where it is, but it was about why Freddy's Nightmares was cancelled. Now, I grew up in Australia, and I didn't really have Freddy's Nightmares or what I consider like its sister series, the Friday the 13th series. They were both anthology series, although they were done differently. I mean, if you haven't seen them. Freddy's Nightmares was Freddy basically being a host and introducing a new story. Two stories, which usually would have one linking character from the first story to the second. And Friday the 13th, the series, it was a group of people who worked in a collectibles or op shop or whatever they called it shop. They were tracking down haunted items, so each episode there'd be a different item that would be causing trouble in somebody's life, and they'd have to go out and save the people. So it was different. It was like one story, and so they were done differently. And the Friday the 13th series started the year before Freddy. Freddy was 88 into 89, 89 to 90. The Friday I'll keep doing that. The Friday the 13th series was 87, 88, 88, 89, 89, 90. So they both ended at the same time, but Friday started the year before. And I always thought of them as very linked, and I always felt that Freddy copied Friday. Like they had a series, so we had a series. They're both done in syndication, and I never ever saw them on TV. I don't think I ever saw them on TV. There were a bunch of videos done. There were some done in the US. 5 had single episodes with the two stories. And then there were ones that were done in the UK. That there were 8 of them and they had 2 stories. They were done in 93. Now, I'm sure I saw them before that. Because I know they had these awesome covers where they had this black cardboard that covered part of the image that was underneath. And then there were these claws sticking out that were made out of paper or plastic. They were sticking out of the videos. So when you had them on the video, the shelf, it looked like the claw was coming out of the video, which was really cool and got my attention. They got destroyed pretty quickly, but I know I rented a few of them. I watched a few of them back in the day, and I kind of felt Freddy as a host was kind of hokey. I never really liked Freddy. I was more of a Jason person, because Jason was a victim, and he was like Freddy calls him in Freddy vs. Jason, like a dumb dog that didn't know when to stop eating. He was like just a zombie that just kept killing. He wasn't really... Freddy was evil. He actually planned to kill children. He was strategic. He went out and this is what he did. And then when he got what he deserved, which is being killed for it, because we all know he wasn't just killing children. Who kills children for no reason? He was molesting them and then killing them so he wouldn't get caught for molesting them. So he's just an evil character. And how this character became popular, I never understood. I was very conflicted because I found he was entertaining, yes, and the movies were great because of the way they used dreams and they're very imaginative. But the idea of Freddy being popular, because I had a friend who liked Freddy a lot. He made in metalwork class, him and his friend made a Freddy glove, which I borrowed for a long time and scared the hell out of my niece. She was in the toilet and I was in my mother's room, which was the door was right next to it. And just as she opened the door, I slammed the glove against the edge of the door. So I wasn't going inside of the room because I didn't want to hit her. And also it was higher than, because she was short, because she was young. And she screamed like nothing I've ever heard before. And I felt so bad. It was so funny because she was so terrified. She thought it was real. Because we'd just been watching something Freddy-like and she didn't know I had the glove. I just had to mention that story because I love it. But so yeah, they were talking about this and why it ended. Because I just assumed it didn't rate well, because I didn't really like it. I felt Freddy was too cute, and that was one of the complaints with the series that went on, that it was too cute, Freddy was too cute, he was too likeable, he was becoming this pop culture icon, he wasn't actually scary anymore. So the film, that's why the 5th film didn't do too well. And the 5th film was released about the same time as this was a series. And some people also blamed that for its lack of box office, because it didn't necessarily make Freddy more popular and get more people into the cinema. It seemed to take away, because I guess why would you go to the cinema to watch Freddy when you could watch him every night on TV, or every week on TV or something. So I just assumed it didn't rate well, and that's why it got cancelled, because it only did 2 years, 44 episodes, but apparently it was rating really well, and the problem was that why it got cancelled was even more stupid than you'd think. Because it was in syndication, there's not one network putting it on at one time and everyone watching it. It's local stations putting it on their own schedule. And unlike what saved the original Star Trek as made that more popular, though that really did rate well in its original airing, but they showed it at a better time slot than NBC originally showed it. Whereas with Freddy's Nightmares, they showed it sometimes at the wrong time slot, 5 p.m. in the day, and in the Bible Belt. What were they thinking? Were they trying to kill the series? So, of course, people got all upset. All the Karens back in the day, the OG Karens, got there and were like, this is satanic, this is evil, and they tried to ban it, basically, and just all the negativity around it. They cut the budget in the second season, and they didn't really know what to do with it, because they didn't seem to be able to win, because they were getting the blame, but the problem was the networks were airing it at the wrong time. And once people saw it and got on the case, kind of like with Married Children back in the day, they never let it go. Even though they cut out a lot of the gore in the second season, they cut the budget, and they made it sort of cheaper and not as good, basically. They still were getting the same issues from the same people who just wanted to be upset and have a fight about the same thing. They just gave up and cancelled it, even though it was rating well. Now, why they didn't direct those OG Karens to the syndicated stations that were the problem, or why they didn't make those people change the airtime and say, well, we are not going to give you the second season unless you air it at a reasonable time, because we don't want to be held accountable for you showing our show at the wrong time. I don't understand how they did that. I've seen a few things syndicated during the day, movies and that really were adult movies, and I'm watching this at 12 o'clock during the day, and I'm thinking, how is this possible? Is it because I think all the kids are at school and it's the mums watching this? I know it's stereotypical, but I'm thinking that's what they're thinking. So I don't understand how that happened, but apparently that's what happened, and I found that really interesting. And then I wanted to acknowledge the writer of the article and the title and share it in the video link, but I can't find it. Every time I try and Google it, I don't get anything for that. So, but it was interesting. Also, I was looking at some of the information. There are a lot of, although they couldn't, because originally I think there was some idea of doing a Nightmare on Elm Street series where Freddy would be killing people, but obviously they worked out they would be running through a hell of a lot of cast, or how they would have one person sort of fighting through 22 episodes a season, or through a whole series. They just decided on an anthology series with him as like this clown-like Alfred Hitchcock sort of host. But part of the thing with that was they apparently couldn't afford any of the stars from the series. Now, most of these people weren't on big budgets, so I think that's BS. But they apparently got a bunch of nobodies, but yet they still had people like Morris Chestnut, Mariska Hargitay, Bill Mosley, Laurie Petty, Brad Pitt, Tim Russ, Jeffrey Combs, Jeff Conaway. I can't read my own writing sometimes. It's like a doctor writing. Diane Franklin, La Park Lincoln, Susan Oliver. So it had quite a few people in it. So it's not like they just had nobodies, but they didn't use any of the cast or any of the characters. It wasn't a continuation of the series. It was this weird offshoot. And I did feel it undermined the series. And I didn't really like it, but I liked that it existed because I was just so starved of any sort of horror anthology or any horror sort of TV series, because there was nothing back in the day. So you kind of watched it because that was it. But now that we have sort of better quality series, it doesn't hold up as well, I think, even as Friday the 13th. I mean, I still like it, but I've only seen a few episodes, so I really shouldn't judge, because I probably have seen about 6 or 8 episodes. I know there was one on a DVD and a couple I found online, and I must have seen a couple on TV syndicated or something. They must have had them on at some point. Maybe when I had cable back in the day, I think for a while, I had Foxtel in Australia. Maybe they aired it on there. Because it was aired in a few places. They would do it as marathons on one channel, or they'd just have it on every night on some like horror-themed channels or days or whatever. So it hasn't totally gone away. Why it doesn't have a DVD release, I don't understand. I mean, there's no way it won't sell. I think they released Volume 1, which had the first 3 episodes in the UK, and it didn't sell well. but probably because no one wants to buy volumes and buy 10 volumes for a series or whatever. What you want is a series box set. So they should have just done a series and box set. It would have sold, in my humble opinion. So I just thought that was interesting. I just wanted to comment on it because there's not a lot happening with Freddy or Jason, and I really loved those series. I watched those movies to death until I realised I was killing them, and I decided to only watch Friday the 13th on the weekend of Friday the 13th. I marathoned the whole series, all the episodes, sometimes the remake and that, like I do with Halloween. Freddy I can watch whenever I want because there's no date that you can lock him to or no holiday. But I tend to sort of save them, and I just never end up watching them. So I'm going to watch Never Sleep Again, which I still haven't seen, and then watch all the movies again. But I just was happy to have an interesting article to me to talk about, because I didn't know that it rated well, and it was cancelled due to politics. I thought it just didn't rate well, and Robert Englund would have been expensive, so it didn't rate well. They just cancelled it, was what I just assumed. And I think maybe I'd heard that from somewhere. But I'm going to go. This is fun talking about Freddy. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Yeah, comments are fun. Thanks, bye.